Hi, my name is Addie Mueller, and today I'm going to be giving my speech on exotic animal hunting, and these are the 5 people that are going to be watching. Alright. Hunting is a long enjoyed American pastime. For many hunters, it's the thrill of the chase and the rush of the kill. However, for as many hunters as there are also those who oppose it, namely animal activists. But how does this change when exotic animals are called into question? How many hunters out there would jump at the chance to have a trophy mounted on their wall? What are the kind of ethical arguments that are behind this? Recently, this has become relevant because many Asian, African, and European exotic animals have popped up on farms and ranches in Texas. Today, we will explore what exotic animal hunting is, how it has come about, and the ethical arguments that are behind it. So what is exotic animal hunting? First, before we even begin on the hunting aspect, we must define what an exotic animal is. According to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, exotic animals are any plant-eating ungulates that are not indigenous or native to Texas. This can include certain animals such as species of gazelle, giraffe, and even zebra. In addition, exotic fowl are any avian species that are not indigenous or native to Texas and include namely emu and ostrich. However, it doesn't stop there. According to the 60 Minutes newscast, Can Hunting Endangered Animals Save the Species, which aired in January 2012, produced by Max McClellan, there are over 125 different species of exotic animals living in Texas alone. Many of these animals do not roam free, however. They are found on many private land ranches, and these landowners have certain permits that allow them to keep these animals there. In addition, hunters also have to have certain permits to hunt these animals. It is unlawful and unethical to hunt these animals without the permission of the landowner or without a permit. How exactly do these animals get there, you ask? Well, that's another thing. Most of these animals were brought to zoos as an effort of conservation, especially since in their native countries, namely African countries, they do not properly protect the animals as well as we do in the United States. It is also harder for them to keep the animals on their reserved lands, and it is not easy for them to punish poachers as we do. However, these zoos started to lose funding to keep these animal herds as they once did, and there came a problem with what they were going to do with the animals after that. We couldn't just let them roam free on the Texas land because some people would come out and hunt them unlawfully, or they would not survive as well because many had been captive bred and descended from the original animals. However, we couldn't just put the animals down as well because that would be unethical and would completely reverse the cause of why we had brought them in the first place. So many Texas landowners actually had an interest in conservation, especially since they had a similar concern in conserving their own livestock, namely longhorn cows. In addition, it would also go into conserving their land as well. So these landowners took over the ownership of these herds, and that just made sense because Texas has a lot of open, ample room, and it is very similar to the habitats of these animals, namely the African savanna. Amarillo Globe News writer Toby Tucker also reports that many of these exotic animals are a huge draw to hunters because they are available when popular animal season hunting is ending, such as deer or quail. However, when does this kind of hunting cross the line? There are namely 2 sides to this ethical argument. There are those who are for the hunting and those who are against it. Those that are for the hunting of exotic animals say that it helps to actually conserve the species. They survive just as well here as they do in their native habitats. And they also get better protection from the United States government than they would in their other countries. The Daily Caller author Patrick Richardson also says that only 10% will be culled each year, and the money that is raised as a fee to hunt these animals goes back into conserving the herd. However, animal activists have sued to stop the hunting on certain animals and have won this lawsuit. So unfortunately for these landowners, these animals are starting to become a money drain upon them, and there is no limit on the population, and they are almost starting to grow exponentially. In addition, these animals have no natural predators, so we almost need someone to be hunting these animals, or else they will start to destroy the environment and start to compete with the longhorn that they were brought to cohabitate with. Those who are against the hunting say that these animals should be in their natural habitats and that it's inhumane for us to keep them here in the United States. In addition, Last Chance for Animals website says that it's inhumane for these animals to be hunted because it harms the environment around them, namely the other herds that are not being hunted by the hunter at the time, because they can get confused and start running around frantically and maybe hurt themselves or kill themselves in the process. Also, these animals have most likely become desensitized to humans, and it's very inhumane and for these humans to come and hunt them after they've been desensitized, especially if you're coming up to them almost right in their face with a gun to shoot them. I mean, any human wouldn't like that either, so it's definitely inhumane for that. Lastly, these animals are endangered, so it seems almost counterintuitive to be hunting them. If we're bringing them here to conserve them, why would we be killing them off when we should be keeping them around for future generations? Whatever the side, hunting is still enjoyed by many of Americans. The kill is definitely a thrill, it's almost seen as a rite of passage, and it can even be a trophy to those who really admire it. Many also oppose this act, however. The arguments have become intensified when it is concerned with exotic animals. These animals are endangered, but actually thriving here, especially in Texas, and we're hunting them for that. There is a lot to think about here, and we've only explored what exotic animal hunting is, how it came about, and the ethics that are behind it. If any of this interests you, there is definitely a way to get involved, so take a side today.